What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 5 of 20 Minutes with Multz. So glad you're back for our third episode of the week. Told you there'd be 3. Here we go. Whole bunch of content coming your way. NFL trade news to talk about, NBA, MLB playoffs, and some MLB managerial changes already coming your way. All that we're going to talk about here in this episode. If you like what you hear, please be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave any comments you got down below. I want to hear from you guys. Positive or negative feedback, drop it all down there in that comment section. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's start things off in the NFL, where of course the big news is Carolina Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey, a former first-round pick who averaged over 2,000 scrimmage yards and 16 total touchdowns between 2018 and 19, but who has battled tons of injuries since then, traded from Carolina to the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners had been struggling with running back depth after losing their quarterback, who is incredibly mobile, in Trey Lance, and losing running back Elijah Mitchell in week 1, and he was going to be out for half of the season. We knew the Panthers were shopping players like Christian McCaffrey. They wanted a first-round pick for him. Instead, what they got from San Francisco is a whole bunch of picks. They got a second, third, and fourth-round pick from San Francisco in 2023 and a fifth-round pick in 2024. So it's not a one, but for the Panthers, who have so many roster-related issues that they need to fix, starting with quarterback, but along with so many other issues, the only way they're going to fix it is accruing enough picks to try and fix the problem, and this is a great way to do it. Now, for Elijah Mitchell fantasy owners like myself, that's devastating, but for the 49ers organization, they add, if he could stay healthy, of course, and that's been a big if for CMC in the last couple of years, but when McCaffrey's on the field, you have him, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. That offensive line couldn't be really any better for the San Francisco 49ers, especially in an NFC West that looks completely and utterly up for grabs this year, with not a single team in that division currently having a winning record. Now, Carolina, they've already been atrocious this year. It's obviously going to get worse. The Panthers are completely punting this season away, and that'll really be proven if they are able to trade wide receiver DJ Moore. Now, they've been a lot more hesitant to do that since they view him as the cornerstone of the franchise, and they've also paid him a little bit of money. But if he finds his way out of Carolina, then that's just all the proof you need that the Panthers are completely going to hit the reset button. They've already fired Matt Rule. They did that a couple of weeks ago. David Tepper, the owner, is obviously not at all happy with the direction the team is going in. McCaffrey is gone, and we'll see if any other Panthers pieces will be on their way out soon too. Now let's talk about the American League Championship Series for a minute. The Astros have a 2-0 lead over the Yankees in this series. The series heads back to New York tomorrow afternoon with Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees. The perfect opportunity to get yourself back in the series. But there's 2 very simple reasons why the Yankees are in this 0-2 hole. Number 1, the Astros pitching staff, like I talked about in the ALCS preview video, is that damn good. They really are. They don't give up a ton of home runs. They strike a lot of guys out. That's been the formula for them so far. But on the flip side, it's also that the Yankee offense looks exceptionally lifeless through the first 2 games. They looked pretty bad against the Guardians, no doubt about that. They never had more than 6 hits in a game against Cleveland, and they haven't had more than 5 hits in the first 2 games against Houston. 5 hits in game 1, 2 runs, 4 hits in game 2, just 2 runs scored. And the pitching staff is really doing a fine job, holding the Astros to 3.5 runs a game, 4 in game 1, 3 yesterday in game 2, in Houston, where the Astros are as close to unbeatable as possible, is a really good accomplishment. Aaron Boone has had a nearly flawless job managing the pitching staff in these 2 games, nearly flawless. The only exception, I would say, is bringing in Clark Schmidt for the bottom of the 6th, after he was all revved up for getting the huge double play to end the threat in the 5th inning of game 1, and that ended up giving up the 2 runs that decided the game. But that aside, the Yankee lineup is really doing bad right now. And here's the batting averages of some key players. This isn't, every single player in the lineup, but it's a lot of them, and that's the problem. Check this out. Aaron Judge, 179 batting average. Giancarlo Stanton, a playoff hero for the Yankees over his career, 167. Gleyber Torres, 148. Josh Donaldson, 227, with more poorly timed strikeouts than humanly imaginable. 227 is a highlight right now in the Yankee lineup, but he's squandering every chance to drive runs in. That's why it's noteworthy, and it gets even worse. The tandem of Kyle Higashioka and Jose Trevino does not have a hit yet in this series. Matt Carpenter does not have a hit yet in the postseason, and Oswaldo Cabrera is hitting .091. The only two guys with high OPSs and respectable batting averages are Anthony Rizzo at .261 with an OPS in the 900s, and Harrison Bader, .273 with an OPS of 1203. The fact of the matter is, when two guys in the lineup are hitting, we saw this at the end of the 2021 regular season when it was just Judge and Stanton, you can't win. You can't win when two guys out of 9 are hitting. You can't win when you're averaging 15 offensive strikeouts a game. And you can't win when you're asking your pitching staff to be perfect. That's never going to happen, and it's obviously never going to happen against the best team in the league. I don't know how the Yankees turn it around. It's not the pitching staff's fault, as people were so ready to blame with all the injuries, and it's not even Aaron Boone's fault, which is such an easy cop-out because he has made so many mistakes in his managerial career. He did make some mistakes in the ALDS against Cleveland. It's neither of those sides of the team's fault. It's completely on the lineup. The hitters aren't hitting, and there's really no fix to that. They've got to fix it themselves. They've got to wake up in the Bronx, or for the first time in the 3 meetings of the ALCS between these two teams, the series will end in New York. The Astros eliminated the Yankees in Houston both of the other 2 times, in Game 6 in 2019 and Game 7 in 2017. If the series is 5 games or fewer, the Astros will eliminate the Yankees on the Yankees' home turf for the first time, and that will really put a cherry on top, an exclamation point to this playoff ownership by the Astros of the Yankees. Things got to change now, or that's going to be it. Now let's talk about the New York basketball teams. The Knicks and the Nets may both be 0-1 to start their seasons, but their openers show different things about where these teams are at and their potential. Let's start with the Knicks, who took a tough 3-point loss in overtime to the Grizzlies, 115-112. Getting a double-double from Julius Randle in the season opener is very nice to see, and Jalen Brunson in his first game as a Knick nearly doing the same with 9 assists and 15 points, adding that ball-sharing point guard that the Knicks really have been lacking. Also nice to see out of the gate. Not to mention getting 20-plus points from Cam Reddish off the bench, and 40 minutes of well-rounded ball from Isaiah Hartenstein off the bench in his first game with the team, after Mitchell Robinson got the start but only played 13 minutes. The real questions lie in what to do with Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin. This has been a question for the Knicks for the last few years since they've had these guys. They've never gotten a real chance to start every single game. And how much longer are they going to be left to sit on the bench? These guys were first-round picks after all. Rumors swirling about the Knicks possibly trading one of them, and I'd be more leaning towards them trading away Obi Toppin. He has been a more productive player, and with Randall still under that big contract and RJ Barrett being such a young, talented player that he is, and with Hartenstein coming in and doing what he did against a good Grizzlies team in the first game, it's much less likely that Toppin ever gets the opportunity he truly deserves with the Knicks. And while he's putting up the decent numbers he's putting up, you might still be able to get a good return for him, especially considering how young he is, how highly drafted he was, and how much potential he originally had when he got selected 8th overall. And he might still have it, given how short into his career he is. For the Brooklyn Nets, their season opener went a lot worse. Losing to New Orleans 130-108, really getting picked apart by guys like Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and others. Not to mention Trey Murphy, the third off the bench, nearly posting a double-double with 9 boards and 16 points. Kevin Durant did his thing with 32 points. Nick Claxton, 10 rebounds, 13 points. But we talked about the success of Jalen Brunson and the ball sharing for the Knicks. That really only happened for the Pelicans in this game. Every single player who appeared in this game for New Orleans had at least 2 assists. Talk about ball sharing and ball movement. That really didn't happen for Brooklyn. No player on the Nets had more than 5 assists. Kyrie Irving only had 5, and Ben Simmons in his first action as a Brooklyn Net had just 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 points. Not good. Really not good. This team will never have a chance in 2022-23 if the team is completely reliant on Kevin Durant playing like a god. And even if he does, which, I think he will, I think everyone thinks he will, KD did what he had to do in this game, that doesn't change the fact that there's nobody else around him who stepped up in this game That has to change. It's so early in the season, but that was a real rough season opener if you're a Nets fan. Last thing I want to talk about is the Texas Rangers back in MLB hiring Bruce Bochy to be their next manager starting next year. Bochy is 67 years old. He's got about 25 years of managerial experience under his belt. He's got 3 rings back in 2010, 12, and 14 with the San Francisco Giants, and he certainly brings a lot of experience with him to that team. But I caution against this move if I'm the Texas Rangers because, as the Chicago White Sox learned the hard way over the last few years, bringing in a very seasoned veteran old school manager to lead your squad, especially one that's pretty young with a lot more young talent on the way, it's a really, really dangerous game. It could work out. I'm not going to say Bruce Bochy is exactly like Tony La Russa. They don't manage the same way. They certainly don't have the same personalities. And Bochy is about 10 years younger than La Russa. But I'm just saying, with all the talent the Rangers already have on that team that they wasted in 2022, posting a real losing record after spending over $500 million in the offseason, bringing in a grizzled veteran manager might be just what this team needs, but it also might be what further blows this organization up that is so desperate to get back into the center of attention in the baseball world. That's a wrap for episode 5 of 20 Minutes with Multz. 2 episodes coming your way next week. We'll be talking plenty about the Giants and Jets. Can Big Blue get to 6-1 against Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars? Can the Jets make a big-time statement against their arch-division rival New England Patriots? How will the Yankees be doing in the ALCS by the next time we talk? All that coming your way and more in our 2 episodes next week. Once again, if you like what you've seen in this episode, like and subscribe. Leave any comments down below. I'm Daniel Multz, and I'll talk to you guys again next week.